Hey guys, welcome back to Creating Hanley. Thank you for joining me on another episode of our sewing adventure for Sew a Star Full of Years. I always say that backwards. I don't know why. I gave myself a little cue card on a star here. So a year full of stars, not a star full of years. That's a little backwards. Anyway, but thank you for joining our Sew Along, Quilt As You Go, Star of the Month, Sew a Year Full of Stars. All right, so I am throwing in an extra one for January because we're in the last week of January. This is the last weekend of January 2023. And I already gave you 2 stars this month, but I am inspired and I want to do another star for this week. It's really simple. So I'm only using 3 types of fabric, and you actually only need 2. You really only need two colors of fabric. And I'm just using Valentine's fabric because we are going to make a friendship star today. So we're making a friendship star, and you know me and themes, so I love a good theme. So I'm using this Valentine's fabric. I just had it in my stash left over from last year. So you can make whatever pattern, or not pattern, the pattern is called Friendship Star, but you can use whatever fabric you want. You really only need 2, but I'm gonna throw in a little extra, not really a twist, but kind of a cool little feature on this Friendship Star that I have seen one other person make. So we're gonna do that for this block. Okay, so I already pre-cut my blocks. And I have to tell you right off the bat, I may have pre-cut them wrong. So we'll see how it turns out. But just drop mine. Now this one I fussy cut. So what fussy cut means is that whatever like little picture in the middle that you want to save that so that the edges have enough space for a seam allowance that your picture in the center turns out on your quilt exactly how you want it, so you want it framed a specific way. This one I fussy cut. This one I did not, but it looks pretty square in the and you can see I did not fussy cut this one at all. So so this one just happened to turn out by chance. It just happened to turn out pretty nice. But we're going to cut this in half anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But this is the one I wanted to save for a fussy cut. Okay. All right. So I made all my squares 4.5 inches. So I made all squares 4.5 inches. So this is going to be the background fabric. So if you're following along with 3 fabric colors, you have a background fabric. You might want to keep that a little bit lighter. Then the center, actually this is going to be the center. This is my fussy cut center. So a center is 1 color, and I cut 3 4.5 squares of that. And then my little extra twist at the end, my little bonus, 2 4.5 squares. Now, you may want to wait until the very end because I have not done this yet. We're doing it quilt along together. We're doing this right now live. So I may have made a mistake on cutting these because when we're going to make half square triangles. So when you make half square triangles, you put 2 pieces together and then you cut them and then you sew them together, which uses space. It uses fabric and it makes your finished square smaller. So I may have messed up on the math on that one. Actually, I didn't do any math, which is probably the problem. I just cut them all the same, and I should not have done that. So we'll see at the end how big of a problem that becomes, but it may not become a problem because if your half square triangles are a little bit smaller, you just trim those down, and then to match them up with a larger block, you just trim this to whatever size your half square triangle block turns out to be. Does that make sense? All right, well, follow along and we'll do this together, okay? So we'll see how big of a mistake that actually was. So when you're making, so we're going to be creating pretty much the whole block is a half square triangle. So if you want to practice your half square triangles, this is a good project to do it. So again, this is called Friendship Star, and I'm only doing it in a very simple way, but because this is a creating channel, I have to add a little extra bonus feature to it. So, we're going to start with, so again, this is my Fussy Cut center block. So I'm going to lower the laptop camera down so you can see. And also, I wanted to add before we start, yesterday I made a video for you guys on my phone camera, and it turned out really nice, except I can't get it to my laptop to edit and upload on YouTube, so I don't know how to do that. And if you know how to do that, please help me out, because it's actually a really nice video. And let me show you the project we made. That's the project we made, guys. Do you want to see how I did that? It was so much fun. So I really want to show you that video, and I need help putting it online. So anyway, that's a very similar pattern to what we're going to do today. So that's a little precursor of what's to come in February, actually, next month. Okay, so to get back to today, I'm going to lower the laptop camera so you can see what I'm doing, and then we'll go from there, okay? All right, here we go. Ooh, don't get dizzy. All right, so here we are. This is my Fussy Cut heart, and then I'm going to create a 9-patch. Basically, that's what this is. This is a 9-patch block. So this is going to be right in the center. So I put one here, I put one here, I put one here, and I put one here. Okay, now because these are going to be half square triangles, they're actually going to be way different than this when we sew them together, okay? So these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All 8 of these blocks are going to be half square triangles. This is the only one that stays in the center untouched. Okay, so now if you have directional fabric, like maybe this is directional fabric, you want to put it a certain way, you can. Now remember, your directional fabric, you're going to cut it. So we're actually going to put these together. So right sides together. This is the wrong side or the back. This is the right side, the pretty side, the printed on side. Again, the right side, the back. So we put right sides together. And then, again, if you have a directional fabric, like maybe you put it on top so you can see the picture through the back, we're going to cut this at a diagonal. So if I wanted something specific, like cut in a specific way, I can see it on the back here. Now, if I cut from here to here, I'm cutting this heart in half on top and half on bottom. So probably not a big deal, but I like the idea of cutting it in half, like through the center. It actually lined up really kind of perfectly by total accident. So I'm going to take this to the cutting board. And I happen to have a cutting board right here, a little cutting mat. So I'm going to take my straight edge and line up both squares perfectly together, and I'm just going to cut from one diagonal to the next. Now, you can draw a line if you want to. Oh, I hope I did that right. Actually, well, it doesn't really matter too much. So what I would do is I would draw a line and then sew on both sides and then cut them apart before doing this. But you can do it this way. You can cut it apart. The only thing is, now this becomes a bias, and a bias is really easily stretched apart. So that could potentially make your square wonky and distort the fabric. And so then it would distort the measurements. So I'm just going to sew this on because I did that. Not necessarily a mistake, but you have to be extra careful now. Okay, now I'm going to use a leader in here because it's a point, and the point will take it will like go down into the feed dogs. So I'm going to adjust my needle position on my machine, and then I'm going to go real slow, and I'm going to start the 1/4 inch seam allowance on this bias edge, and then you'll see when I get to the end here, that creates a square. So see how that created a square? Let me cut this off. Alright, so now that created a square. Okay, and you can see how I cut the heart in half diagonal that way? Great. Now I'm going to take this to the iron, and maybe you can see that. I know it's super far away, but I'm going to open up these middle edges. I'm going to open up this seam, and I'm going to press this open. And the reason I do that is because when you iron to one side, it sort of distorts the fabric even more. So I want to try to maintain it as much like bigness to this block as possible. So I'm going to take my dry iron. Oh, you can't really see that. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Can you see? Where can you see? You can't see it all. Alright, so I'm just going to take my dry iron and iron this open. Now the iron's hot, so be careful. And then if you need to steam press it, go ahead and steam press it. And then I flip it over to the other side and steam press. Okay? And then that fabric lies flat, so you can see how those seams lie flat. Nice and flat. Okay? And then that creates a block that is... What size block is this? It's 4 1/4. It's 4 1/4, so I took it down a 1/4 inch. So now I no longer have that extra 1/4 inch for a seam allowance. So that means my middle block has to come down a 1/4 inch also. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay. Now also, these little dog ears, can you see these dog ears sticking up? You can cut those off if you like, but you might want to wait until like you get all these ironed and then you trim them all together, and then you can trim those dog ears off at the same time. So again, here's my other half. I'm going to very carefully sew down a 1/4 inch on the bias side. Cut off my leader. And again, open it up. And I have the other half. Of the other half to my heart. Now, if I turn them this way, they are the same. Wait, why does that not look the same in the camera? There, they're identical. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to iron this one open, and then I'm going to do that to all the fabric, all the squares. Okay? Maybe I will just iron these to one side. If this becomes like really cumbersome and I'm pressed for time, you know what? I'm kind of pressed for time right now, so you guys don't need to see me do this. So I'm just gonna actually I'm just going to what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna press it all to the dark side. Okay, so I just press it all to the dark side. And yeah, I might lose a little bit of length, or you know, like a thread width, but you know what? I'm pressed for time and I gotta go. So, and you don't want to see me, you know, fussing around with this all day. Now, the other way you can do this is to take a pencil with a straight edge, draw from corner to corner. And I just have like a regular number 2 pencil here. Draw from corner to corner, and then you sew 1/4 inch on both sides. So I'm going to do that with all of these. Right sides together. Now, if you have some markings on your machine, or you put washi tape down, or painter's tape or whatever kind of tape you wanted to use as a guide, you can do that too. All right, so I'm just using the light fabric to draw on. Now, if you have only darks, you can use like a white chalk or a silver pen, something along those lines that it'll show up on the dark fabric. I want to try to keep both of these as square as possible. So, take a little extra time in the beginning. Okay, now, so 1/4 inch down both sides. So you're going to use your line as your guide. And the line is not being sewn on. The line is simply a guide for your presser foot to follow, so that your stitch line is 1/4 inch away from that line. So I don't even have to take it out and cut it. I'm just going to go straight down that side. And this one got a little bit caught. Like I said, the corner can get sucked into the feed dogs, and then I'm just going to go right down there and throw another one in, just chain piece it, okay? So again, the drawn line, your pencil line, goes along the edge of the presser foot. You know what? I'm just going to throw this one in too. And then the sewn line goes 1/4 inch on the other side of your drawn line. Okay, so let me cut these apart. My leader. And you guys know why we use a leader. So now I'm going to cut on the other side of this. And I'm not going super fast. I'm trying to be very careful on this cutting, on this sewing. But I'm gonna have a little bit of a wonkiness to it anyway, so that's just how my sewing projects go. All right, now cut these apart. Cut these apart. Oops. And then you can either cut with your rotary cutter or your scissors right along that pencil line, right in between where you sewed, so that you have now a half square triangle, okay, for all of them. So I'm just going to press these. Again, I'm going to use the method of pressing to the dark side. And you can use your rotary cutter to make this job a little bit faster if you want to. Be careful you do not cut your sewn lines. Don't cut through those threads, because that holds your half square triangle together. Okay. Now I have identical pieces. All right. Now remember, if you happen to iron red fabric, it gets a little bit darker. The color distorts a little bit. but don't worry. As soon as it cools off, it goes back to its original color. The first time I ironed red fabric, I thought I ruined it. I wasn't sure what I did, what was different, and I don't know why that happens, but it does. It's a red fabric phenomenon. Okay, now, these are almost all done. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to lay this out however you want. But for this little extra piece that I'm putting in our friendship star, so this is going to be the center. And then, let me show you some space here. This is the center, and then this is at the top. Wait, how do I, let me think about this. Here we go. Like this, and like this. Push you guys back a little bit. Oh no. Where did... Oh, here they are. I was like, where did my other pieces go? I lost them. Here and here. No, something... Is that right? There we go. I think that's right. Okay. Now, these go out like this. There. I think that's right. Okay. That's our friendship star. There we go. Maybe I want to do this. Maybe I want to do this. No, something over here doesn't look right. This doesn't look right. Let's do that. I think that's right. No, why is this? Oh, this. Okay. That's right. That's right, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get it yet. Okay, so let's look at this. All right, can you guys see that? That is called a friendship star. Now, normally, the friendship star does not have these half-square triangles on the edges. Usually, they're just a solid, whatever the background fabric is, and that is a friendship star. However, I have to be creative and add a little extra half-square, a little extra triangle. Now, when you sew all these together and you put it into a quilt, these quarters become diamonds. So that's why I did that. Okay, so we're going to sew these edges together, and then we're going to sew these edges together, and then we're going to sew these edges together, and then we're going to sew this unit to here, and then this unit to here, okay? Now, if you wanted to, at this point, this is a good time to square up your squares. Square up these 9 squares to make your row. Now's a good time to do that. I am not, because I'm just kind of pressed for time, and I'm just going to go get this done right now. Now, doing that can potentially make your blocks wonky and your rows wonky, so just keep that in mind if you decide to skip that step. Here we go. I'm stuck in the thing again. So, I got stuck, guys. Not good. So, I'm going to have to do some surgery here. Not really what I want to do on camera at the moment, because you don't need to see that, and I'm running out of time. I gotta get my butt to work today. So, oh my gosh. I'm losing everything. I'm going too fast. I'm making mistakes. This is what happens. When you go too fast, you make mistakes. Try to get things done in a timely manner, and stuff happens. Okay. So, let's find my bobbin thread here again. Now, where's my plate? It fell on the floor. Here. Okay. All right. This became a mess. I'm gonna clean this up. Now I need a leader. Throw my leader in here. Okay, I still know which side I'm sewing together. And leader on, just go. Alright, there we go. Try to sew this, speed this up a little bit. Now that that's in, I know is this the way I want it? Is that the way it should be? Yes. So I'm going to put this in here. Now remember, all of our squares are a little bit smaller than this mid one, than this big one. So I may have to kind of fudge it a little bit. And if you want, again, now's a good time. When you're squaring up all the blocks, you square up all the blocks to the same size. To the same exact size. Okay, so this goes on here. And you sew this edge together. Okay, now I'm going to keep that one in to continue our chain piece. And when I open this one up, I know this is the center because this is my fussy cut one. And I know we started down here, so I'm going to open this up. And I know this is on the corner, so it goes like that. So now I want to attach this piece to this side. Okay. Try to square that up as best you can. Sew it on. And I know this is my bottom piece that I started. So this one goes here. Okay, so now I'm going to do this middle one. Actually, I'm going to do this one. It doesn't really matter. Just don't confuse yourself. Now my rows are probably going to be pretty wonky because I'm doing this fast and I did not square anything up. Now this is the center one. And I also did not iron in between. You can, feel free. All right, this one. Okay, now I'm going to take a look at these. Actually, I'm going to iron these. So this is my center piece, and if you iron them, you iron the center, these seams to the inside. These outside ones, you iron to the outside. Okay, so you iron these to the outside, and that way these will nest a whole lot easier. So I'm going to take this on the iron. I'm going to do that very quickly. So the middle row irons to the center, and the upper and lower rows iron to the sides. And I know you can't see anything off camera right now. Sorry, guys. You probably don't want to or need to anyway. So again, iron to the center, iron to the center. This is the middle one. And then this is the bottom one. Iron to the outside. And iron to the outside. Okay. Now create your star like this. Okay? Yay! There we go. Now I'm just going to iron these rows together. And now you want to align, let me see where you can see. You want to align this with this. So you line these corners up right here. And if, again, you want to trim, feel free. Trim, 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 okay? So that your rows stay nice and square. All right, now I'm gonna kind of look at it my angle and see what looks right. So I want to do this here and this here. Yep, that's the way I want to do it. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. All right. Now, this one didn't, you know what? I'm gonna sew this together because, oh, of course. A little extra effort here. I just want to make sure I get that nice and secure. And I'm going way faster than I normally would. But it's probably taking more time. And again, I did not square anything up. So, alright, let's try this again. Okay, so this goes here. And again, a quarter seam allowance. Alright, that barely caught on the edge. Let me just double check. It did not catch on the edge. So, I'm going to come in from this angle. Okay. Now, this is coming together, guys. All right. So, we have this so far. Let's put this one on here. Start with my leader. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. Zooming through it now. Okay. We have it done, guys. We have created our friendship star. Can you see? That is our friendship star. Yay! Thank you for sewing along with me today, guys. I appreciate it with all my mistakes and whatnot. That's the adventure part of creating Handly. We create all kinds of stuff. We create mistakes, we create solutions, we create resolutions, we create all kinds of stuff. So, this is fun. Then you press this out. Press so it lays nice and flat. And then you can add this into your quilt block or your quilt or whatever project you're making. So I'm going to save this for next month, and we're going to use this in next month's project also. Maybe a back. Maybe we're going to use this for the backing for one of our quilt blocks. So this is called the Friendship Star. Thanks for playing along with me today, guys. You have a great weekend, and we'll be back with more in February next week. All right. Have a good one. See ya. Love y'all. Mwah. Bye.